Thank you, Adam. Tonight, the ARCA Menards series is turning left and right. We're road course racing at one of the most demanding tracks on the circuit. It's Watkins Glen, and it's next. The ARCA Menards series is racing at Watkins Glen.
I can feel it in my blood, got my heart racing. Got the world in my sights and it's for the taking. We apply the pressure, diamonds in the making. Got the spirit, got the vision, yeah we groundbreaking. Now we trying to take the whole game and make it bigger. I can take the pain, cause I'm a born winner. Got the medal round my neck, watch my chain shimmer. Only ever seen a king looking in the mirror.
This is not just an equipment racetrack. You have to drive these things here to make speed.
Now we trying to take the whole game and make it bigger. I can take the pain, cause I'm a born winner. Got the medal round my neck, watch my chain shimmer. Only ever seen a king looking in the mirror.
And what a beautiful shot there of Seneca Lake, just the Finger Lake region, absolutely beautiful. We welcome you to the General Tire Delivers 100. It's race number 13 for the ARCA Menards series. We welcome you in on this Friday evening. I'm Jamie Little, joined by Trevor Bain and Phil Parsons. We're excited to go racing, but Trevor, these men and women in the field, they have their challenges tonight. It's a 2.4-mile road course.
They do. This track is demanding, as you said earlier, and to me it's because it has a little bit of everything. You can see the overhead view here. We're not doing the boot over here at the bottom right, but we were doing the NASCAR circuit, and it's got a little bit of everything. Like I mentioned, you've got the fast and flowy corners. You've got tight corners like turn 1, turn 6 and 7 over here on the other side. And the other thing about this track, a lot of elevation change. You can see going down into turn 1, it's almost like a roller coaster. You're dropping in. Super easy to lock up those tires right here, Phil.
Over 150 miles an hour down in that corner. I don't think I ever qualified that I didn't overdrive that corner.
That's no doubt about that. And when you overdrive it, it sets you up bad for these S's, which is where a ton of lap time and speed are made. You want to get all the speed you can into this bus stop. Another fast straightaway there, Phil. A lot of braking and a lot of technique to get through this bus stop without upsetting your race car. Then it's back around through the carousel, turn 6, and then turn 7, our final quarter, that's going to bring us back onto the front straightaway.
You know, the ARCA series is a development series, so there's not a lot of road course experience in the field, but there are a few exceptions, Phil.
I think it's a pretty stacked field, and a couple of guys I'm going to keep my eye on. Number one, the 17 of Taylor Gray. He's a 3-time winner. He won our only other road course race this year at Mid-Ohio. He starts in the 4th position. I'm also going to keep an eye on a guy that doesn't have a lot of ARCA experience, but it's Connor Mosek. He always runs well when he runs. He actually won a Trans Am race here at Watkins Glen last year, and he will start from the 3rd spot. And how about Brandon Jones? Everybody knows who Brandon Jones is. Multi-time winner in the Xfinity Series. He did double duty here last year. 5th in this race, 6th in the Xfinity race. I'm going to keep my eye on him, and he starts from the front row. And oh, by the way, let's don't forget about our pole sitter, Sammy Smith.
That's right. And Taylor Gray, just moments ago, his helmet was off. He has a lot of swagger. You know, he won the last time.
He deserves it.
He deserves it. Yes, he put on a show, a clinic last time at Mid-Ohio. Now, we've been talking about this points battle all season long, and now we're 12 races in already, and still just 9 points separate the top 3. You have Nick Sanchez, who, by the way, just won for the 3rd time this season a week ago at Michigan. What a spectacular performance by him. But that put him on top of the points ahead of his teammate, Raja Karuth. Now 7 points separate the two. So let's hear from our new point leader, Nick Sanchez. Moments ago, he caught up with our Josh Sims.
Yeah, Jamie, and Nick Sanchez took the points lead, virtue of that win at Michigan. 3rd win of the season, all came on oval. So what's it going to take to get it done on a road course here tonight?
Yeah, we just have to be there at the end. You know, that's what I kind of worked on in practice, trying to tune my car to what I think will best suit me for the race. And, you know, we struggled a little bit with the car, but just trying to be there at the end because that's when it matters.
Thanks and good luck tonight, Nick. Jamie?
A man of very few words. This is kind of a different Nick Sanchez. What did you think?
He's in the zone for sure. And, you know, the thing that stands out to me with the points battle is his average finish is a little worse than Raja Karuth, but what he has are those wins. And that's what it comes down to. If you're going to win a championship, you got to win races. Nick's doing that, and I think he'll be tough here today.
Yeah, and I like his attitude. When Josh asked him what does he need to do, I need to get to the end. And he does that. That's why he has such great finishes. He gets to the end. So I really think that he's a guy to watch tonight.
Well, he had a great car and a great performance at Mid-Ohio. Of course, they had a mishap with the tire swap, so I'm curious to see how he'll do tonight. Well, there's 25 men and women ready to go. Let's go trackside for the command.
And now, race fans, here to say the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome, from Parmenter Tire, Joseph McGinnis.
Drivers, start your engines! Woo!
How about that little woo at the end? I think he is fired up. I know we are certainly fired up, excited to see those engines ready to go. Hey, did you know that today is National Photography Day? Well, neither did we. Well, we decided to talk to a few of the drivers and see what kind of photos they like to take. Here's the General Tire driver profile.
I did not know that National Photography Day was a thing, but it makes sense. We are living in the world of content is king. I feel like I take pictures of everything. Like I'll see a cloud and I'll take a picture of the cloud, or like the sunset. Like I see a photo opportunity in everything. So
primarily I take pictures of things so I don't forget. Like if it's a homework assignment or some groceries, I honestly never go back and look at it.
Actually recently got a puppy a couple weeks ago, so it's been pretty much filling up my phone the past couple of weeks.
probably most of the photos on my cell phone are like selfies, honestly.
Not a lot of pictures of myself. Real estate, if there's a cool house that I see, I'll take a picture of it.
I'm a big foodie and I love, going to cool restaurants and whatnot. So the most recent picture of my camera roll is actually my dinner last night.
This picture with my girlfriend, and then it's a meme.
Going on the boat, going golfing or something like that. Obviously a lot of racing stuff too.
Kind of hoping to take some photos in Victory Lane here in a few hours.
And hopefully the trophy at the end of the day is probably all the pictures probably gonna get taken.
Welcome back to Watkins, Glen, New York. It's an absolutely beautiful evening for racing, and we're happy that you're joining us. We're getting ready to kick off a triple header weekend of stock car action. But first up, it's all about the ARCA Menards series. And now just 2 hours ago, we had a 20-minute qualifying session. Fastest car takes the pole. And in the end, it was all about that man, the 18 of Sammy Smith, fastest man in New York for the 5th time in his career. He will lead the field to green, and it is his teammate, Brandon Jones, starting next to him. Now, while the GT delivers 100 starting grid scrolls at the bottom, let's dial up our pole sitter, shall we, Trevor and Phil?
Let's go for it. Hey, Sammy Smith. This is Trevor Bain in the Fox booth. You got a copy on me? Hey, Sammy Smith. This is Trevor Bain up in the Fox booth. You got a copy on me?
Hey, Trevor. Yep. Got you loud and clear.
Awesome, man. Well, great job today being on the pole, being fast in practice. I feel like you got a lot of speed, but man, you've had a great season here running part-time. 2 wins. What's it going to take today to add another one to that column?
Yeah, thank you. I think it's just going to feel like we got a fast TMC Camry, and can't beat ourselves today. I think it's going to be the biggest thing.
Hey, Sammy, Phil Parsons here. Again, great job today, and as all year. But, you've run some technical road courses before. We always call this one a super speedway of road courses. What do you think about this place?
That's a ton of fun. Probably the most fun road course I've been to so far, and hopefully we can go get another win today.
Sammy, well, good luck, man. Hope you go get it done.
That's 10-4. Thank you, guys.
It's been a great season for that young man so far. Well, we have 4 onboards for you this evening. First up, the 73, Andy Jankowiak in the General Tire onboard. He's starting 15th, the local man. This is his home track.
We're also going to ride along with Daniel Dye in the 43 car. This is the Volusia Sheriff BecomeADeputy.com Chevrolet, and he will start from the 8th spot.
Phil, we got a regular in the Xfinity Series coming down to ARCA to get some laps. Brandon Jones in the 81 starting second with the Amerilux on board.
Why don't we ride along with our point leader, Nick Sanchez, a winner most recently last week at Michigan. This is the Bounty onboard camera, and he will start from the 6th spot.
We love coming to this place, Watkins, Glen, New York. Gotta love the track. It's beautiful, but it's a little tricky, a little challenging for these drivers. Let's take a look now at our track description.
Yeah, this place is tough. You know, we talked about the elevation change, 7 turns, 2.45 miles, so a long racetrack. And today, these drivers have got their work cut out for them.
Let's take a look at our race analysis. This race will be 41 laps, about 100 miles. We're going to have a race break on or around lap 21, about halfway through. And this is the 27th time the ARCA Menards Series has been on a road course.
Let's check in with Josh Sims quickly before the green.
Hey guys, at any time we go to a road course, we always have to look at the 15 of Parker Chase. This is a guy that has a lot of experience on road courses, especially here, and he pinpointed this race specifically at one where he has a good shot to get a victory. He thought it might happen at Mid-Ohio, ended up finishing second, so he said now this one is circled. He wants it really bad, and Parker's a guy that moved from Texas to Charlotte back in April just to focus on NASCAR and focus on moving up through the ranks, and he has a lot of focus on getting that first win here today, guys.
Thanks, Josh. And Parker Chase, certainly one that's not, he's not worried about ruffling some feathers and hurting some feelings, as we saw at Mid-Ohio.
That's exactly right. But you have to be aggressive on these road courses, and he's certainly one of those drivers.
Little surprised here by the lane choice of Sammy Smith choosing the outside into turn 1. You know, normally I would think you would take the right side to be on the bottom, especially getting into the S's. Maybe he's just planning on a great restart here.
Well, how about maybe teammates working together on this initial start?
That's always a factor.
So Sammy Smith on the outside, Brandon Jones in the 81. Next to him, pace car is off. For the 5th time in his career, Sammy Smith will lead him to green, and we are racing at Watkins Glen.
About Connor Mosack with a strong move to the inside.
That lane choice worked out pretty well for Sammy Smith on the top, already getting to a clean lead. Connor Mosack's going to show his strength early on here as a road course racer. He knows these braking zones and how to challenge them, and he also knows that things get singled out. It gets harder to pass, so these restarts and initial starts are the time to make your moves.
Great side-by-side battle here. Almost bumping with a 17 of Tanner Gray.
Aggressive side drafting there.
So somewhere. We talked about Taylor Gray. He had some swagger before the race, so he's here for wins. That's it. He's not full-time in this series, as you see him with Connor Mosack on the inside, door to door.
Tad aggressive here on the initial start for these guys.
Aggressive but impressive there. I don't mean to rhyme, but these guys made it too wide all the way through the bus stop and the carousel. They're still too wide going through turn 6. I don't know that I've ever seen 2 cars make it through the bus stop too wide.
Nice job, though, by Taylor Gray to grab that spot through turn 6. Now this is turn 7, the final corner before the front straightaway.
Brandon Jones is finally single file here as well, and these guys can now go to work. You know, that initial start, you're too wide, it's hard to see your marks and your braking zones. Now as things get singled out, you can start clicking off laps and figuring out what you've got, as we see the 20 of Jesse Love looking under your point leader, Nick Sanchez.
That side-by-side battle for second allowed Sammy Smith to open up about a 2-second lead already.
Let's go back to the bus stop here on that first lap. Look at how close these two are. Mosack on the outside. Beautiful.
Half the time he's on the outside, the other half he's on the inside through the bus stop.
And they proved it can be done, Phil. So if people wreck each other later, we saw a perfect example of too wide, clean racing, and that's how you do it.
Connor Mosack in the 23, racing for Brett Holmes Racing today, but tomorrow he's racing for Sam Hunt in the Xfinity Series. There's, I believe, 6 double-duty drivers this weekend, so getting some great track time as you see the 23 ahead of the 81 of Brandon Jones.
He got a little sideways off of turn number 5 there. That allowed the 81 of Brandon Jones to pull up alongside. Great battle side-by-side through turn 6.
I love that Brandon Jones just loves to drop down to the ARCA series and run as often as he can, especially at road courses like this. He always runs so well, but it's really neat because, you know, the other drivers like Sammy Smith, they like to run against a veteran driver like him.
It's a great way to gauge yourself against somebody that you know has experience and you know is good. He's already a two-time winner in the ARCA series this year, as well as an Xfinity winner earlier at Martinsville.
Well, for him, it's about repetition. You haven't been to this racetrack since this time last year, and those braking zones and how to roll speed, you know, the more reps you get, the easier it gets and the more comfortable you get. The first time you're on the track and you go to the bus stop, it feels like you're going 200 miles an hour. And as the race progresses, it starts to feel a little more slow motion. You feel more settled, and you can get to work. So this is that's why you see these guys do double duty on a road course weekend versus an oval. The track time really does pay off. And it looks like Brandon's got a solid car here. Connor Mozak, lost the spot to him, able to hang right with him. But we'll see if these guys can run down Taylor Gray, who's, again, making some headway on Sammy Smith.
Sammy Smith in checkout mode right now. He's got about a 2.5-second lead over Taylor Gray, who's gained 2 positions already on the charge. But Sammy Smith, guys, he has put in the work. Trevor, I know you spent some time with him. You know him well. Just tell us what he's done to prepare for these road courses in the ARCA series.
Yeah, and really it's preparation for any race for Sammy Smith. He asks the right questions. When I talk to Jason Ratcliffe, who we share as a crew chief in Xfinity, Jason says, hey, when Sammy comes to my office, he knows what he's asking. He knows what to talk about, the things that matter. And then when I talk to Sammy about these things, he really does have a good head on his shoulders for these kind of cars. And then, he spends time in the simulator. He goes over to the Toyota TRD Racing Center and puts in the time. He was on Watkins Glen for 12 and a half hours in the last few weeks preparing for this. And so even though he doesn't have any track time at this racetrack, I'm telling you, the simulators have come so far and can put you up to speed so much quicker now than they ever could when I was coming up in these series.
And this race today is going to pay huge dividends for him for tomorrow's Xfinity race as well.
For sure, for sure. When I watch his car here, that's the other thing. The other advantage of running 2 different cars, you learn, okay, my ARCA car turns really good here, so I know that my Xfinity car can do that, or maybe it's a little bit free over here, my Xfinity car is not. So I think you can work on that. You can learn what you need to be fast, and that's half the battle of road course racing, is knowing where you can make speed at.
Well, it's been all Sammy Smith. He's led 4 laps so far in this race. Can they catch him? We'll be back for plenty more racing action from Watkins Glen. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Bounty, the quicker picker-upper. By Menards, save big money at Menards. And by Suchi, America's manufacturer of plumbing, drainage, supply, and support products. And we welcome you back. You haven't missed a thing. It's been all Sammy Smith out front, ahead of Taylor Gray, Brandon Jones, Connor Mosack, and Nick Sanchez, your top 5. And hate to see this for Andy Jankowiak in the 73. This is his home state, his home track. We're told that he doesn't have 3rd gear, so he has brought it back to the garage.
Yeah, tough break for Andy. We know how much this race means to him as we check back in with our leader, Sammy Smith.
Taylor Gray that time was a little bit quicker than Sammy Smith for the first time. Sammy's been pulling away lap after lap, but right there, Taylor Gray was only 200s though, Phil. Not a big difference here. These guys are clocking in some good lap times.
And Taylor got a bad break through the S's there. He caught a lap car through the S's. Sammy was able to clear the lap car and not lose any time. I would think that Taylor will have lost a little bit of time there. But what a great battle we have here for the 3rd spot. Brandon Jones at 81 and Connor Mosack is all over the back bumper of that car.
They can't shake each other. I have a feeling this is going to continue throughout this race. Working lap number 8 here out of 41. We will have a break around lap 21. They can come in. It'll be a non-competitive pit stop. They could take fuel and tires. They'll have 5 minutes to work on their cars, make changes. I know one car in particular won't be making any changes.
We hope not anyway. That's our leader, Sammy Smith.
Yeah, that lap traffic you talked about slowed those guys down a little over a second and a half. So it makes a big deal being online through the S's. That's where they kind of caught those cars and it got them offline, not able to run wide open. as we talk about wide open, let's listen to the throttle of the 81 up the S's here. What I like to hear, Phil. He was able to keep that thing wide open left and right. Maybe cracked it a little bit to turn into the S's. But right here in the bus stop, this is a big area I talked to Sammy Smith about this morning.
Fourth gear to second gear.
You kind of hear Brandon, he lifts early enough that he was able to pick up the throttle again in the center of the bus stop. But what I actually like to do is maybe get to the throttle before I ever get to the curbing at all on the right side. And so when I talked to Sammy Smith, I said, hey, listen, it'll settle the car down if you get that thing straight and get a little bit of throttle before you get on the curb. Doesn't sound like Brandon's able to do that yet, but still running good in third place.
Yeah, these cars handle better on the throttle than they do on the brake, for sure.
They make it look so smooth, but when you ride on board, you really feel how violent some of the track is.
No doubt.
Well, we talked about our new point leader, Nick Sanchez, in the 2 after winning last week. A big win for him, one over Corey Heim. Third time this year. He's back in 5th, and he has that beautiful paint scheme. Gamebridge coming on board with Rev Racing for he and Raja Karuth, his teammate. Car looks good, and he's kind of just turning some laps back there in 5th.
Just a little bit of pedaling through turn 2 like you were talking about, Trevor, then wide open through turn 3 and 4, which are the S's as we head down towards the bus stop.
Yeah, and check this out. You've got the markers on the left side here. You've got a 600, 500, and you're looking at those. That's how you determine where to brake at. So that's the challenge when we saw on the initial start where you're too wide, you lose those markers on your left side. So as that plays out later in the day, keep that in your mind that, hey, when I'm beside somebody, I have no reference of where to brake at on my normal markers.
Let's get an update on Nick Sanchez. Here's Josh.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez was really excited to come here to Watkins Glen. And off the top of the show, we talked about the fact that those 3 wins this year came on ovals. But he talked about the fact that before he ever raced on an oval, he was racing high-level karts, and he was doing it on a road course. Raced on road courses for about 3 to 4 years before he even changed over to ovals. So he knows how to handle these types of tracks, fully confident, and having that points lead was an extra boost for him heading into this race. But now the focus for him, holding on to that points lead, because he knows his teammate and Daniel Dye are breathing down his neck.
Yeah, that's a great point, Josh. Yeah, he always talks about that go-karting experience. He raced karts down in Miami where he grew up, and that really helped set him up. So he really expects to do well. And we've got the 06 Rita Thomason around. She was 3 laps down at the time. She's got an issue there. Looks like she can't get it fired as the leader goes around. Rita is a sergeant in the police force in Tuscaloosa. Racing is her passion. Got some new sponsorship on board here for this race, the Troopers United Foundation, but definitely not what she expected. She's having problems getting it fired, but we stay green for now.
Yeah, the ARCA officials are giving her time to get it refired, but it looks like she's having a problem. Oh, there she goes. She did get it fired, and track is clear now. Actually, here comes...
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Oh,
that is
wow.
a bad place to be right there, Phil.
She needed to get on across the racetrack. I think...
Pretty sure we're going to have a caution now.
Yeah, we need one. We need one right now.
That is a very bad place to be sitting.
There it is.
And
there it is right there.
Caution comes out for the first time. You see it there. She's got it fired again.
Man, that was a scary place to be sitting right there in the bus stop where drivers have no visual to the right as that curbing kind of blocks it all.
Avoided disaster there, but here's a look at the spin.
Just lost control getting into the bus stop. But Trevor, you're right. I mean, you're trying to decide where your line is. You don't want to miss your line going here, and there's this awfully close call right there.
Wow.
Just barely able to avoid her. She makes a mistake of stopping right there. She should have kept on
That's Dale
going.
Quarterly right there. He's got a lot of experience at this place, and I'm sure that helped him with heads up. Hopefully he had his spotter in his ear, but they avoided disaster. We will continue. We'll step aside. We're under caution for the first time. Sunday, 2 of the NFL's most electrifying teams take center stage as the Ravens take on the Cardinals in an NFL preseason showcase. That's Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. I know my family's going to be excited. Football is back. We're not in the season yet, but it's preseason, and football is on Fox. And how about this crowd, you guys?
It's lovely. Love
Perfect weather. All the campers came out. Look at this. And we're the only race in town for tonight.
I love going to Watkins Glen this time of year. It's like early fall. You know, it's so hot here, or when we're back at home in Charlotte or Tennessee, and then I get to go to Watkins Glen, and it's like fall, 70 degrees, beautiful.
And passionate fans there as well.
So gorgeous up there. I mean, you see the camping, the lakes. They have wineries down the street. It's a beautiful place to watch a race and a beautiful place for camping. Well, Toni Breidinger, we haven't really talked about her much, but she's on the lead lap right now on the number 25. She's our Bounty Rookie Spotlight this evening.
You can see 24 starts, 7 top 10 finishes. Pretty impressive. Her best finish is 9th. She's done that 4 times. And Josh, she had some issues before the race there. She's kind of feeling under the weather a little bit, isn't she?
Yeah, guys, she's dealing with a little bit of a stomach bug today, so she actually got in and out of the car during practice, but she said she wanted to make sure she gave it a shot. She wasn't feeling 100%, but she said, hey, I'm a racer. I don't want to see someone else get behind the wheel of my car, so I'm going to give it a go. But at the same time, she said she's got to be smart because she does have another race on Sunday, and in that race, there's no backup driver for her. So if she doesn't feel like she can get through this race, she'll get out, because she knows Sunday is also in the picture as well, guys.
True racer, you do not give up your ride. And he just mentioned it. It's very rare that you see this in a national series, but they have 2 different events in the same weekend, 800 miles apart. That's a lot on these drivers and teams.
And it's a dirt track. It's a 1-mile dirt track. We documented at Mid-Ohio. That was Toni's first ever road course race. Well, now she's going to race on dirt. She's probably more comfortable on dirt because of her open wheel background, but that's a lot in a weekend for these ARCA teams.
Yeah,
Trevor,
especially when you don't feel good, right, Jamie? I mean, she's been sick all day, sick enough to let somebody else drive the car in practice. I mean, as a racer, that is one of the hardest things to watch. So a lot of credit to her for saying, hey, I can't do that for the race. I've got to get in this thing whether I'm sick or not. Phil, I don't know about you, but I've been sick in a car before, and it's not fun, but you just push through.
You really do. It's amazing what you're able to overcome by the adrenaline you get going in these race cars.
Yeah, that adrenaline, once you guys strap in, it's like you become your old self, and then once you get out, you're like, oh my goodness, how did I pull that off? Well, this is one of the Sioux Chief Showdown races. This is a championship within a championship.
Yeah, this is a series that actually allows people that are underage. If you're not 18 years old, there's a lot of these racetracks that we can't go to, Daytona, Talladega, Michigan, places like that. But everyone is allowed to race here, and you can see this is race number 7. What a great broad section of racetracks too. Starting at Phoenix with Taylor Gray early on, and then we race here, then the Milwaukee Mile, very famous racetrack, and then another dirt track, and then we finish off at Bristol.
One of the things I noticed about this list of drivers right here that we were looking at is you have Xfinity Series winners. Taylor Gray challenged for the Truck Series win at IRP, almost won that race. Then you have Sammy Smith, who's also running a limited Xfinity schedule. So these drivers are our next generation of up-and-coming guys and girls, and so I love to see this and see the action here on the track today. Up front right now, Taylor Gray, Sammy Smith, Jesse Love, all of these people show so much potential and have a bright future.
Sammy Smith's average finish in the 6 races we've had so far for the Sioux Chief Showdown is 2.0.
Oh my
That's his average finish.
Pretty good. See
Very
that lane
good.
choice again here, Jamie, the same as the first time around on the outside, so maybe it's not a teammate deal. He's got Tanner Gray down there who's going to shoot it into turn 1 for sure.
Yeah, now Taylor Gray, this is the closest they have been all day. We'll see what Taylor can do in the 17. Mentioned he won the last road course race at Mid-Ohio in this series. But Sammy Smith, he's been tough so far. Green flag back in the air here at Watkins Glen.
We know Taylor's not going to back off. If he can drive it in there beside Sammy Smith, he's going to do it.
Sammy able to get that lead again. Nice arc into turn 1, uses all the racetrack on exit, and a lot of speed down into the S's here.
That was Nick Sanchez who fanned out to the inside, trying to make a charge there. Had to lock it up, almost overran turn 1, which we see a lot.
And I've done a lot.
Nick Sanchez being smart there with Jesse Love that was on his inside in the S's. He kind of let him go. Now he's going to look and show him that bumper into the bus stop. Sometimes that's all it takes to show the bumper. It makes people get offline. Jesse Love did a nice job, though, keeping his car to the left and tied in the bus stop there.
It's the battle for 5th right there between Jesse Love and Nick Sanchez, who's in 6th.
Connor Mosack took advantage of that restart and grabbed the 3rd spot from Brandon Jones.
Taylor Gray's able to hang right with Sammy Smith right now.
And it looks like Rajah Caruth in the 6th. He's off the pace,
Oh,
guys.
right rear tire's down.
That's not what you want to have when you're in a tight points battle like he is with Nick Sanchez. Only 7 points back right now. This is not good.
It happens so far away from pit road, too. Obviously, it takes a long time to get around this racetrack. A quick pit stop, he would stay on the lead lap, but as slow as he is from the top side of the racetrack, I'm not sure he's going to be able to stay on the lead lap. Hopefully he will.
And Rajah's been just a model of consistency all season. His worst finish is 12th. He's had the best average finish of anybody running for the championship. We haven't seen them have a whole lot of tough breaks, but you saw that right rear flat. He was 9th at the time.
Some hard racing here with Parker Chase. We saw his aggression at the last road course. Seems like today's a little more cooled out. We'll see as the race progresses. Let's go check it out with Josh, see what's going on with Rajah, if they can keep this thing on the lead lap here, Phil.
Yeah, guys, and that right rear tire did go down for Rajah Caruth as we see him come into pit. And for Rajah, he said he's been pushing a little harder, especially now that he lost the points lead, something he had the whole season for the most part. But seeing his teammate, Nick Sanchez, have 3 wins so far, he's like, I should have 3 wins. And, of course, we know how competitive these racers are, but he said he really needs to just focus on having a very good race in order to get that points lead back. But he is, of course, having a pit here, a little letdown for him.
Still hoping for that first win. But you see the leader, Sammy Smith, coming around turn 1 as Rajah Caruth comes off pit lane, and he was able to do it ahead of the pack and stay on the lead lap. They got him fixed up. You see the points as they run. Rajah Caruth has led the points most of the season until last week when his teammate Nick Sanchez won that race. Now you see Rajah, because of that stop, he's back in 3rd, 20 points back.
The important thing is that can he stay in front of our leader, Sammy Smith, for about 4 more laps? Oh, we're just hearing from the ARCA officials that he was too fast entering. He will be posted. He will have to make a pass-through penalty, but I think Sammy may pass him before he gets back around anyway.
Man, that's always hard, Phil. You have an issue like that, and you want to do everything you can to be as quick as you can to stay on the lead lap, and you just pour, more fuel in the fire there when you have a penalty like that. It's such a hard thing.
Look at this battle for the lead. Taylor Gray all over the back is Sammy Smith as they get around Rajah Caruth. 17's looking. He's letting him know he's there.
What a great battle here between these 2 young teenagers.
Sammy Smith, the 18-year-old. Taylor Gray, the 17-year-old. Not just the car numbers. So what is that?
Taylor's doing a really nice job of keeping that pace. We saw that their lap times were matching the first run, but now that he's close, putting some pressure on Sammy is putting Sammy, in a spot where he has to push his car a little bit more, and we saw it kind of getting out of shape there, getting into the first S, the turn 2 to the right.
Taylor Gray's just all around, wheel man. What he's been able to do in the truck series, he jumps in and out of there, finished 6th at Richmond last week. That is his best career finish. He just gets better every time, but guys, he's 17. He's not even old enough to run everywhere, so he jumps in where he can, and I know his team, DGR, very high on him as he gets a little sideways trying to get around the 18.
That's all the pressure you can put on somebody right there, Phil. That's as hard as you can go.
As you mentioned, Taylor was on his way to win the truck race before he got taken out at IRP just a few weeks ago.
I think you were calling that race, right? I remember you guys talking about it and hated to see that. But I'm telling you, both of these guys up front have done such a good job this season, taking advantage of opportunity. It's not often you get to drive a Joe Gibbs car in the Xfinity Series or a David Gilliland truck in the Truck Series, and both of them have stepped up to the occasion. When they've been in those situations, they've been fast. And I look at Sammy Smith at Michigan, was the fastest car in the whole race, running 2nd majority of that. Had a speeding penalty, much like Rajah Caruth just went through. And then you look at Taylor Gray, had the issue. So the results don't show the effort and the speed that these young guys have.
Rajah made his way down pit road. He's still 1 lap down. There's a chance, though, that he will be the top running car that's 1 lap down, not on the lead lap. He may be able to get the free pass. It all depends on when he gets back to the racetrack off his penalty.
Working lap number 19. Remember, we will have a race break at or around lap 21, so we're within a couple of laps of them being able to pit, make those changes. What a show they're putting on at the front here. Sammy Smith, though, I mean, nobody's been able to get around him. This is the closest Taylor Gray has been, and it's a battle.
And you may ask, why is Taylor Gray pushing the issue so much? I think he would like to get that lead, like to get the lead in that clean air and see what his car would do in clean air. Maybe would be able to drive away from Sammy Smith. So that's why he's pushing so hard.
Yeah, and watching these two cars so closely together, you can start to see the little differences in setup and driver and technique. You know, when I watch the 18 car, he's a little better in turns 6 and 7. He's able to open that gap up. But as we get off of the S's here in a second and we get to the bus stop, last lap, Taylor Gray did a really nice job of keeping that car straight and tight to the curbs, whereas Sammy Smith was sliding out a little bit more. And they went to the carousel and Sammy slid out. So we'll watch this lap and see as Sammy Smith actually opened up the biggest gap we've seen since the restart.
You see that wide shot right here, and you're thinking, where is everybody? Well, they're back there, but they're about 6 seconds back right now. Connor Mosack in third. You see him there. Speaking of Mosack, let's get an update on him, Josh.
Yeah, for Connor Mosack, he's been so close to getting wins so far this season. He said all year long he's just been missing 1 or 2 things. Well, he said the big thing for them in this race was to be able to run up front. He says usually by the end of the race, they have the speed they need. Well, look at it this time. Top 3 so far, so they had the speed off the start of the race. Now let's see if he can hold on and compete for the win, guys.
This is about as aggressive as I've seen Connor. I think he's just getting more confident in his ability with the team. You know, it's been new for him this year.
Well, and that's one of the biggest struggles when you take a road course racer and move them to a stock car. They're not used to those aggressive restarts, aggressive drivers, and even we talk about Kimi Räikkönen coming to the Cup Series, right? People with that level of expertise, they get in here, and when you're beating and banging and 5 wide and people are leaning on you, it's really hard to adjust to that. So that's one of the things I think Connor struggled with initially in stock cars that he's really starting to learn, and as you said, getting more aggressive as he goes.
He's been so solid in this 23 car too. 6 starts this year, all top 10 finishes. 5 of those starts, all top 6 finishes.
I think it's interesting when you talk to road course guys who come over to stock cars, and that is the one thing that they say, Trevor, just these guys they're going for it every lap. I mean, they're bumping and banging, and they're just so aggressive in this series.
There's no doubt about it. And we see that all the way through. I feel like used to, you kind of saw that in ARCA and trucks and maybe a little in Xfinity, but you had guys like Kevin Harvick that were the enforcer, or Carl Edwards, and they didn't let you put a fender on them. Now in the Cup Series, you watch guys like Ross Chastain and all these new drivers that are so aggressive. So really it translates from ARCA all the way through as the leaders navigate some lap traffic here. There's a new chicane on Watkins, Glen. I don't know if you know about it.
And it was moving. It was a moving chicane.
That's right.
Heck of a job getting around him.
Bad news for Rajah Caruth. He was in the free pass spot, but now Dr. Ed Boll in the 7 car is now the lead car 1 lap down. So if the caution were to come out right now, Boll would get the free pass and not Rajah.
Be a lot to overcome.
Whoa!
Another moving chicane here,
wow.
Phil.
That was unbelievable. The onboard footage is so fun. That was Brandon Jones taking us for a ride there. He had a near miss with Connor Mosack, and then the moving chicane, as you guys mentioned, that he went around to the inside.
That was a breathtaking chicane there.
Yeah, that's not where you want to catch somebody, even if they are at the same speed as you, as we see another lap car playing a factor here in the battle for the lead. Tanner Gray really close here on Sammy Smith, getting into the best part and a caution.
And the second caution of the day, but this is our race break.
That was a 35 of Greg Van Alst. He may be deemed 1 lap down, depends on where that scoring loop was, so he might get the free pass.
Not used to seeing Greg Van Alst running down in 17th. He's been off since the start of the day. Bad times for Rajah Caruth, had that cut tire, then he got a penalty. We'll come back and have pit stops from Watkins Glen. Tomorrow, it's baseball night in America on Fox. Jose Altuve leads the Astros against Ronald Acuna Jr. and the Braves. Pete Alonso and the Mets look to fend off the surging Phillies or Mariners A's. It all goes down tomorrow at 7 Eastern on Fox. Check for the game in your area. All kinds of sports. Baseball, we've got NFL, preseason back, and we welcome you back to racing action. It's ARCA Menards series from Watkins Glen. So it's been fun so far. Let's take a look. It's already that time, guys, the midway point. So it's time for the Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap.
Well, we've had one leader, and that was our pole sitter. Sammy Smith has led all 22 laps from the first spot. As you can see, no lead changes, but we still have 17 cars on the lead lap. We've had 2 cautions, and again, Sammy Smith has led every lap.
To be honest, guys, this race has gone so fast. The halfway break caution caught me off guard. I was watching this leader battle, and I see caution. I'm like, oh, caution's out. But, man, it's going so quick here.
Don't blink. It'll be over. There's been a lot of near misses, too. So the guys have, and ladies, have kept their heads up. And you saw all the teams allowed to go over the wall now. They'll have 5 minutes to make their changes and fix things up. Let's check in with Josh.
And let's start with your leader, Sammy Smith, who's led all the laps so far. He said he's losing front grip right now. He said he's too free off the S's and the carousel exit, and then he's a little too tight on the last 2 turns. So in addition to those tires and fuel, he's going to make some adjustments so he can try and hold on to the lead he has. As far as Taylor Gray, who's been trying to breathe down his neck all race long, he said, I'm getting killed through the S's. He needs just a little bit more to be able to catch up to Sammy Smith. So they're going to try and make an adjustment for him as well as he tries to track down Sammy Smith in the rest of this race.
All right, so a little bit of adjustments going on as the sun starts to set. Now these guys know what they need. Well, I talked about some of the close calls. Let's look back. We were riding on board with Brandon Jones in the 81. This is what it looked like from outside the race car.
You see Connor Mosak, he had to get out of the throttle to make evasive moves, and I don't know how Brandon Jones does not run in the back of Connor right here. Watch how fast he comes up on him. But what a great heads-up move by Brandon Jones to, number 1, avoid Connor Mosak in the 23 and get around that lap car as well.
Yeah, that was a super close call, not just with Connor, but with the 06. I mean, he had no visual of Rita there in the middle of the racetrack, and so as soon as Connor moved to the left, he has a car sitting right in front of him.
Well, that could be one of our Reese's Sweet moves of the race. Remember, it's up to you. You can vote starting tomorrow at 9 a.m. Go to the ARCA Menards Twitter page. Let us know what move you liked the most. We'll be back. We'll fire them up again here at Watkins Glen.
The ARCA Menards Series has raced but twice at Watkins Glen International Raceway in the past 21 years. But the Glen has a storied history that goes all the way back to 1948. On October 2nd of that year, 15 cars started the first Watkins Glen Grand Prix, which ran through the town on paved and dirt roads. The race was won by Frank Griswold. 8 years later, Watkins Glen International opened, a purpose-built road course that hosted Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, and sports car races. And when you go down the list of winners at Watkins Glen, it reads like a who's who of professional motorsports. You'll see names like Jim Clark, Sir Jackie Stewart, Bobby Unser, Scott Dixon, Jeff Gordon, and Tony Stewart. These are racers that make up the fabric of motorsports history and the history of Watkins Glen International Raceway.
Certainly a who's who of motorsports racing history, from Formula One to ARCA Menards Series. Everybody loves to come to Watkins Glen just for the history and what this place means. Founded back in 1948, became a permanent road course in 1956, and just a special place. It's pretty cool that the ARCA Menards Series is here for just the 3rd time ever.
Yeah, I'd only raced on one road course, and that was the old road course at Riverside, California, prior to coming to Watkins Glen in 1986 for the first Cup race in like over 30 years. And man, just fell in love with this place and loved it ever since.
So the 17, we saw them working on their car. A little bit of damage from earlier in the race.
Yeah, we talked about the aggressive side drafting on the first lap of the race, you guys. This is Taylor Gray, Connor Mosak not really sure what Taylor's trying to do there, but I guess he didn't want Connor Mosak to sail it into the bus stop here. They made it through the next part pretty clean, but that's really early in the race to be getting damage.
Not a lot of damage, but they had 5 minutes. They may as well just, fix it up, get it right. They did make some adjustments, as Josh reported, to that car.
One of the toughest things about adjustments here at Watkins Glen is the difference in the S's. We heard Taylor Gray say, I got to get through the S's better. The problem is when you start stiffening up the rear of the car to make it stable through the S's, guess what? That hurts you through the curbs and through the bus stop, maybe through some of the slower corners where where we've seen Taylor actually be a little better than Sammy. So you kind of have to just pick your good areas, keep working on those, and maybe minimize the damage in the bad areas.
And it's really a compromise. This racetrack is somewhat of a compromise with the fast corners and the slow corners.
Well, you saw what Taylor Gray has been able to do, and it's been a lot to do with the man on the pit box as well, Chad Johnston. We'll see if it's good enough to get the lead back here in moments. Coming up Sunday at 12:30 Eastern on FS1, it's NASCAR Race Day with Adam Alexander, AA, Larry McReynolds, and Trevor Bayne. We'll have the latest news on Kyle Busch's 2023 plans, and Josh Sims chats with Michael McDowell. We'll also hear from Justin Marks, who signed former Formula One world champion Kimi Räikkönen. He'll race right here at the Glen on Sunday. And the newly re-signed Penske driver Ryan Blaney. He'll join us on Race Day. That's Sunday, 12:30 Eastern on FS1. Trevor, they're keeping you busy.
I guess so, Jamie. I'm trying to keep up with you, you know.
It's because you're doing a good job. That's why we want you on all of our shows. Love having you here. Well, for the first time today, we have a new leader, Connor Jones in the 55. A little bit different strategy going on here. He actually stayed out there because he pitted on lap 13, and he took fuel only because he couldn't take tires. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think obviously he can make it to the end of the race, and he's just trying to steal a few spots. He was running 12th at the time of this halftime break here, so I don't know that he's had the speed to stay up with these guys, so it's going to be interesting. But if he can steal a few spots, maybe it works.
Yeah, this is a tough spot to be in as a driver when you're maybe not quick enough to be in that lead group and you're on older tires. I mean, yeah, Watkins Glen's a smooth racetrack, but tires still matter here. So I think right here you got to do damage control as they go green.
All right, Connor Jones in the 55. The 18 is Sammy Smith. Green flag. It looks like Sammy Smith with a really good start. We've got him fanning out. Love this angle right here. 17, and Taylor Gray tries it, almost spins it, but saves it, and it's Sammy Smith regains the lead.
You see what kind of chaos it caused by the 55 restarting up front there.
Brandon Jones taking advantage of that, working his way up to second as Taylor Gray says, I'm going to take that spot, and we'll see if he lays off the side draft this time around.
Yeah, Brandon Jones is used to being in these spots right here. You see the battle down into the bus stop.
Taylor Gray's not taking no for an answer. He's forcing that 17 car in there every time through that bus stop. You don't see that a lot when you're on the outside getting into that. And Brandon Jones realized the 17's pretty good, kind of let him have his hole there. And now Taylor Gray's got to do some work to try to catch up to Sammy Smith again.
And just like that, Connor Jones, like you guys said, on those old tires, he's already been shuffled back into 6th after restarting first.
See a little damage on the left front fender of the 17 car here from that initial skirmish of 3 wide off of turn 1.
Talked to Mark McFarland, the crew chief for Sammy Smith this week, and he said this young man, and you talked about it earlier, Trevor, just how much time and effort he puts into the racecraft. He said he is ready. Like, we should win this race. It's the same car that Ty Gibbs ran at this racetrack last year, had a great run, didn't win the race, Corey Heim did, but they really felt good about their chances today.
Yeah, and Trevor talked about how impressive he's been, especially in the Xfinity car, but this is that restart. Obviously, Connor Jones in the 55 didn't get the initial start, puts a 3 wide situation. I think the 17 of Taylor Gray maybe made contact with the 18 of Sammy Smith. This is Nick Sanchez's on board. There's Connor Mosak. You see her little right front tire rub on the 23 of Mosak.
Yeah, Brandon Jones see this happening, and he sees nothing but a clear racetrack in front of him. He thinks he's going to get the lead, and Sammy Smith's able to get his momentum back off of the corner there. Luckily, you've got all that access road. You know, used to you had grass and sand and all kinds of stuff at these road courses, but over the years they've added asphalt and giving you that option to use it. And you know, Sammy Smith did a good job collecting himself to maintain that lead. Led every lap so far, and what he doesn't like to see is Taylor Gray getting a little bigger in that rearview mirror. He seemed like he's made up a little bit of time that last lap.
Love those restarts going into turn 1. I think that's a preview of what we'll see tomorrow in the Xfinity race, and then of course Sunday in the Cup race. Just chaos, and I love seeing them turn right. You know, people that maybe watch a little bit of NASCAR, a little bit of ARCA racing, you're not used to seeing these guys take a hard right on the start.
Riding along with Daniel Dye. Daniel right now is running in the 9th spot. He just lost a spot to the 15 of Parker Chase this last lap. Trevor, you talked about trying to run wide open. Once you pedal the throttle a little bit in turn 2, we heard Daniel Dye have to lift off in between turn 2 and turn 3.
Yeah, and every corner in those S's, they're all connected, right? So if you get off just a little bit in turn 2, it really hurts you through 3, 4, and then it kills your speed down the whole straightaway into the bus stop. And that's one of the cool things about Watkins Glen is kind of that flow that you get as you work through it. And as we mentioned with adjustments, it's hard to make your car drive perfectly all the way around this racetrack because there's so much diversity in the styles of corners. So you just have to kind of mitigate, as I said, your bad spots and really focus on your strengths. And you kind of hope that your strength is the S's and the bus stop. You want both of those to be really good.
There's Connor Jones at 55, who restarted this race as the leader. As a teammate, Parker Chase, moving to his inside. Now they're lined up on the inside. 43 of Daniel Dye, and that's the 32 of Austin Wayne Self. We haven't talked a whole lot about him. He's going to try to make his Xfinity debut tomorrow.
Daniel Dye, we've been riding along with him. Haven't talked a whole lot about him. Back in 9th right now, but points as they run, he sits 2nd. So he had a nice points gain so far today, but definitely not up in the mix. Looking for his first win of the season. And we've got, they get a run together. It's Connor Jones.
Connor Jones almost squeezed Austin Wayself into the guardrail through the S's. It's a fast part of the racetrack to have some contact.
It is, and those old tires are really biting him now as you see him push wide through the bus stop. He's trying to keep pace with all these drivers that are on fresh rubber, and it's just hard to do here at this place.
Mentioned Greg Van Alst is back on the lead lap. He came in 4th in points and had his work cut out for him. And we have caution out for the 3rd time. We have debris in the inner loop.
Huge break for Raja Karuth. He is the lead car 1 lap down, so he will get the free pass.
I look forward to watching the rest of this race, Phil. I'm excited.
Me too.
Brandon Jones looks like he's in the mix a little bit more. Taylor Gray still trying to figure out how to steal the lead from Sammy Smith. But these top 3, I can see a really good battle shaping up here.
I think Brandon Jones's car is better after this halftime break. I think they made adjustments, and that car's better.
I think you're right.
This race, don't blink. It is flying by. Just 13 laps to go. We're going to step aside for just a moment, but we'll get them refired here and finish it out here at Watkins Glen. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Richmond Water Heaters, the water heater experts, available at Menards. And by General Tire, #GT delivers. And we welcome you back. A beautiful evening at Watkins Glen. So the General Tire delivers 100, and it is flying by. We have just 12 laps to go. Got a triple header this weekend, Xfinity racing tomorrow, NASCAR Cup Series on Sunday. And so far, all those fans have been watching this guy, the 18 of Sammy Smith. He has led all but 1 lap today. He's led 28 total so far, so that makes him our Sprecher lap leader. Let's get an update on him, Josh.
Yeah, Jamie, and before the race break, he was saying he's too free in the S's and the carousel, so they made an adjustment. He said now he's better through the S's, better through the carousel. Still concerned a little bit about the last 2 turns, still a little too tight, but he said, you know what, this car is good enough right now, guys.
And that 17 is still all over him every single inch around this racetrack.
So far, perfect weekend for Sammy Smith. Fastest in practice, qualified on the pole, led all the laps except for the 55, led off of strategy, so he's trying to keep this up. Pressure's starting to build, though. You mentioned Taylor Gray. I mean, I've been really impressed with how close he's been able to stay to Sammy this last run. Brandon Jones, as we mentioned before the break, has made his car better. And then you look on back to 6 here with Jesse Love, Phil.
Yeah, Jesse Love has really done a nice job here. He won his first ever West Series race on a road course, so he has some road course experience. There he is, Jesse, right there. You see he won Salem last year. But look at that 17, look how consistent. 17 top 10s and 21 starts for Jesse Love in that Yahoo Toyota.
Toyota has some incredible talent coming up through the development ranks. They find them so young at different tracks around the country, and then they bring them along, and you see what they're able to do. And Jesse Love, another one, he's not even able to run all the tracks because he's only 17 years old. But this team that he's with, they won this race last year, so they knew they had a great piece and a great crew chief in Shannon Rush. So
Yeah, and Corey Heim, another example of that program you're talking about. You know, he won here last year. Now he's been in the Truck Series some, driving for Kyle Busch, and has won races. So they've done a great job building this program to develop drivers and move them to the next level.
And I wonder how much that win here had to do with that, because he beat Austin Hill, who won the Truck Series the next day, and Ty Gibbs, who won the Xfinity Series the next day. So he beat the drivers that won the other 2 races prior to the Cup race.
And by the way, the Xfinity Series and Cup Series is all here. They were in inspection today, so they're all watching these guys. So it is a big moment for them. They're on the big stage. I think it's 9 times they get to race at the same track as the Cup drivers.
Anytime there's a companion race like this, you get so excited as a driver. And it ultimately led to my first opportunity at Bristol. I was racing in front of the Cup guys, and Pasui from GM saw me and helped me get my first deal.
And Sammy Smith will bring him down. We're green once again. 12 laps to go here at Watkins Glen.
Sammy gets a great jump every time, but we saw Brandon Jones give a little shove to the 17, which pushed him back to the inside. Going to be a little bit cleaner this time, but still making a challenge on that 18 car.
Ooh. Sammy heard clear from his spotter, and he took it.
Clear enough.
Mostly clear.
As they wind through the S's, it is 11 laps to go. Sammy Smith, Taylor Gray, Connor Mosack, and Brandon Jones, though, back there battling for that 3rd spot. The 81 gets it.
See Daniel Dye looking to the inside of Jesse Love. Now he's on the outside in the bus stop here. We'll see who comes out in front.
Parker Chase back there in the green and white, number 15. Watch him. Time to turn up that wick.
Ooh, Daniel gets a little bit wide. Jesse's able to pull back to the inside.
Daniel's playing a little defense there with Parker Chase looking behind him now.
Taylor Gray not letting Sammy Smith get away from him.
Guys, I tell you who else has made his car a little bit better, and that's Nick Sanchez. He's all over the back of Connor Mosack. You see him right there running 5th in line.
Nick Sanchez, the winner last weekend in Michigan, really looks forward to the road course races. Grew up racing go-karts in Miami. And there's only 2 road courses on the schedule. There's 20 races in the ARCA Menards series, so this is their last chance to shine, right?
Well, and you know, the importance of road course racing is really starting to develop in NASCAR. As you see the Cup Series adding more races to the schedule, you see guys like Nick Sanchez who have go-karting experience, and even, you know, you look at Sammy Smith and his development path. Connor Mosack, these guys are going and running Trans Am races, they're running IMSA races, they're trying to get experience, and I think it puts more importance on tracks like Watkins Glen, like this today, to show these Cup teams, hey, I'm not just good on ovals, but I can get it done on a road course.
You got to be well-rounded these days. Josh?
Yeah, Nick Sanchez earlier in the race was talking about the fact that he just needed more front turn to fill. You talked about the adjustments they made. They must have done something to get that car better. Well, that's what they did. And before the race, Nick Sanchez was talking about just the importance of this race, because they're going to a dirt race on Sunday. And not just him, a lot of the drivers have no idea what to expect in that race. So he said this race is crucial with Sunday looming.
That's why you see a lot of these drivers over at the little dirt track at Millbridge.
That's
trying to get some experience to run that race at Springfield this weekend.
Such a steep learning curve, I would think. I mean, you're running Watkins Glen road course. Then 2 days later, you're at a short track, dirt track. I mean, that's a lot for a lot of these young drivers who are on the circuit for the first time this year.
One thing about Springfield, though, it races a lot like a paved track. So it's not as much of a transition as you would think some of these dirt tracks would be. But nonetheless, it's still huge.
Man, I think Taylor Gray's got Sammy Smith's ticket right now. He's hunting him down. Still looks a little better through that bus stop. He's able to get over the curbs, and the car settles a little better. And the carousel, he's able to hold the bottom, whereas Sammy Smith's having to use all the racetrack to make his speed. I really think we're going to see a great battle all the way to the finish of this one, Phil.
And Sammy has to be perfect right now. If he makes the slightest mistake anywhere in this racetrack, Taylor Gray's going to pounce on it.
Yeah, and Sammy honestly is doing a great job to have that much pressure with Taylor looking. You know, he can see him in that mirror, and it's easy to overcharge the corner. You and I mentioned turn 1, how easy it is to try to get just a little bit more and lock up that right front. And to this point, I have not seen Sammy Smith lock up a tire yet.
I just had a flashback to the first road course race this year at Mid-Ohio, and it was kind of similar to this. Everything was going along, you know, they were filing in line, and then chaos broke out with 2 laps to go. And we got a big wreck right as I mentioned, and Amber Balkin, wow, she is stuck up on the tire barrier. She's getting out of that car fast. The caution is out now with 8 laps to go. There is smoke. I'm wondering if there is a fire. She's getting out quick. Oh my gosh, and the 71 involved behind her. That's Christopher Worth, and she is not happy.
Jamie, you couldn't have timed that any better with your chaos breaking out comments, but this is a big wreck right here.
It's been a tough stretch of races for Amber, and it looks like the way she's unhappy with the 71, that must have been some contact there.
I thought she was in a hurry to get out because there may be a fire. She was just fired up. She is not happy with what happened. You see the yellow stickers on the bumper. That indicates that they are rookies. It has been really tough for Amber. I was just talking about drivers that are in this series for the first time full-time and learning, and this just what she's going through. It's hard to learn when you're not able to finish all the laps.
And she was running on the lead lap, doing a nice job, staying in contention for a possible top 10 finish.
She had a few top 10s going in the middle of the summer. Last week they had a mechanical issue, engine failure, I believe. See exactly what happened here with Amber Balkin in the 71.
Yeah, the 71 just trying to move inside her and actually got loose and took them both into the outside safer barrier.
Yeah, probably a little wheel hop here for the 71 as he turned down underneath. Just lost the rear end, and they were both along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, Amber gave him plenty of room. He just got loose and had to use up more racetrack, and unfortunately made contact, and this is the result.
That's good news right there. Christopher Worth, who is a Porsche and BMW instructor at this course, he has crawled out. He looks to be okay. Another look why we're under caution here for the 4th time. ARCA Racing on FS1 is brought to you by Reese's. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Reese's, not sorry. And by Sprecher, Fire Brewed Craft Soda, the official craft soda of ARCA. And we welcome you back to Watkins Glen, New York, where we are under caution for the 4th time this evening. This is the ARCA Menards series, and that right there is part of the reason why. Let's take a look back. Christopher Worth and Amber Balkin. Let's listen.
Wow, incredible impact.
You can hear the crowd's reaction to it. It was a violent hit. Amber very frustrated. Let's get more on Amber, Josh.
Yeah, and Amber is understandably frustrated. It's been a really tough stretch for her, and she said she's been trying to focus on the positives because everyone goes through bad luck. She said this is just a stretch of bad luck she's never experienced in her career, and once again, the problem is it's been things that happened of her, not of her own doing. That is, she had a parts failure at Michigan. She has this incident today, and she says when she looks at the positives, the good thing is she's been running in the top 10. She's been getting better. She's trying to focus on that, but once again, an early end to a day, and she's going to try and have to look at the positives once again from a tough finish here, guys.
Yeah, and the Canadian driver, I mean, she's moved down to Charlotte to focus 100% on this full-time ride. It's the first time she's done a whole series like this, and it's just growing pains. But how do you keep yourself positive when it's week after week?
Pocono, the same thing. Remember, she got bumped and run into and through the tunnel turn and got into the outside wall. Another situation that wasn't of her making, but just has to keep her chin up and keep digging. I know she's working really hard at it, and she just has another race in a couple more days.
Yes, she does. Well, we have 6 laps to go here at Watkins Glen. We'll line them up, and we will drop the green flag and see who comes out as tonight's winner. Welcome back to the General Tire Delivers 100. Well, we'll just have 4 laps remaining in this ARCA Menards Series race number 13 of the season. Turn 1, it's been incredible. It's just what we expected, right? There's been a little chaos, a little calamity. So I'm wondering if maybe we'll have another Reese's sweet move opportunity.
If we have a sweet move, there's somebody that's going to think it wasn't so sweet. Oh, man.
That's for sure. I know Sammy Smith right now realizes how this is probably the most vulnerable he'll be to give up that lead, and Taylor Gray on the other side realizes this is the most opportunity he'll have to get that lead. So two guys with two different perspectives, one on the offense, one on the defense.
Sammy Smith in the 18 has led 35 laps. He has started and restarted on the outside all day long, and it has worked for him. And we are green once again.
See, Taylor Gray had to play a little bit of defense there, kind of block Brandon Jones. Look at Connor Mosack, the 23 car.
Another great start.
Oh!
Contact there.
Connor Mosack into the fence there. Looked like he had a good restart, good opportunity, and got together with maybe the 81 car, put him out into the guardrail, and that's going to put a big damper on his day.
Yeah, it's going to ruin his day. Meanwhile, though, the 17 is stalking Sammy Smith in the 18.
This is good.
Made up a lot of ground through the S's there, Jamie, and now putting that pressure to him that we've seen all day through the bus stop.
Taylor Gray, as much pressure as he's been putting on Sammy Smith, he has yet to lead a lap today. Can he do it, guys? We've got 4 laps to go here.
We saw him move the leader, Chris Wright, at Mid-Ohio with 1 lap to go.
So he'll do it. He knows he can, he'll put that bumper to him, right?
Unfortunate for Connor Mosack in the 23 as Taylor Gray gets a little aggressive, jumps inside. We've got a caution out for the 5th time.
Oh, man.
Rita Thomason once again stopped on the racetrack.
Remember, they'll go back to the previous loop to see who was ahead at that point. Yeah, I think it could go either way at this point.
You know, Taylor Gray kind of shot his, went ahead and, I don't even know how to say it. He used his shot. He used it up right there.
He took his shot.
Yeah, you normally you say, I'm going to shoot my shot. I don't know how to say that in a different tense, Phil. I'm struggling with my language here. But he showed his cards, I guess I could say, in that corner, because that was a move I didn't see coming. Coming off of turn 6, he was set up to the right and took that dive bomb into 7. The 18's going to be the leader here, according to NASCAR, or to ARCA here. And to me, that's really tough for Taylor Gray because Sammy Smith is likely not to give him that opportunity again in turn 7.
You're right. The 17 showed his cards. That's the most aggressive we've seen, and he gets the lead for the first time, and the caution comes out. But they go back to those loops, and it was the 18, and he will maintain that lead. As you see the 23 of Connor Mosack on pit lane.
Yeah, Trevor, I think you're exactly right. I think he got together with Brandon Jones here. He made a nice move to the outside. There they made the contact, then he got to the outside guardrail. Unfortunately going to end his day after a great run. Watch the 81 on the right. He moves back over to try to get an angle into turn number 2. That's where they made contact.
Yeah, and it's tough enough here on the inside when that curve's going to run out on the left. So he's thinking Connor Mosack's got all kinds of room. Meanwhile, Connor Mosack sees a grass strip coming up.
And this was that aggressive pass right here. Locks it up just a little bit. Taylor Gray in the 17 gets ahead of the 18, but the caution falls. They go back on that loop, so the 18 will restart as the leader once again. So, hey, bad news for Taylor, great news for us, right?
Absolutely. A little bit of contact there on that pass as well.
Yeah, and if you're Taylor Gray, you're sick at your stomach right now because you know you made the pass for the lead. You finally got the lead, and you got to give it back. So when he saw that caution fly, I'm sure he queued up that radio and said, you got to be kidding me right now.
And good news for all of us watching because, of course, we get to see another one of those restarts. So it'll be a lot of fun. But Connor Mosack, and Phil mentioned it earlier, every time he's been in this 23 car, he's finished in the top 10, and it's getting some opportunities for him. Sam Hunt has given him a call. He'll be in his Xfinity car tomorrow. So you see him on pit road stop now, but he will have another shot at it tomorrow.
Yeah, just a great job. Unfortunately, it's going to be an early in. But really did a nice job running in the top 5 this entire race.
Oh, to be inside Taylor Gray's head right now. Okay, what do? We have less time when you go for that move again.
Well, and for Sammy Smith, that's the first time he's actually had a real threat, a real challenge. You know, Taylor Gray's been there in his mirror, but he just saw, man, I maybe don't have the best car now. So he's got to get a little bit more aggressive. And when you see that aggression knob turn up, that's when mistakes happen. I do think Sammy Smith's done a good job all year of not making those mistakes in this situation, and that's what makes great race car drivers. But one of these guys is going to come out on top more than likely.
We've mentioned Mid-Ohio so many times today and what happened in those final couple of laps. Let's take a look back at what exactly went down and all the chaos.
Remember, this race started in the rain.
To the Mid-Ohio Dawn 150. The green flag, we're racing at Mid-Ohio.
New trouble for Arnie Kopp.
And the 03 Arita Thomason. These two teammates cannot shake each other. Oh, and Raja Karuth maybe looking in the mirror a little bit.
Ooh, contact. Yeah, Greg Van Alst was out of the way there.
Sammy spins around off track.
Ooh, how about Jesse Love just driving in there. Taylor Gray gets to the inside. We make contact. Knocks the 42 out of the way.
Wow.
Hell of a job. Way to stick with it, guys.
And the checkered flag is out for Taylor Gray.
Hell yeah.
There is your winner. Taylor Gray burning it down in victory.
There we saw the bump for the lead that we talked about a few moments ago with Chris Wright in the 42 and the 17. We have not been given one to go yet, so they're not ready for a restart. But we are going overtime, and the ARCA rules for the road courses, they will have one lap shootout. They will get the green and the white at the same time, and it'll be one lap to finish it.
And the next flag will end it, whether that's a caution flag or the checkered flag. And did you see it there, the green and white together? Oh, this is going to be good. That little package we just saw from Mid-Ohio, that just set the table for us. Will we see more of the same?
Well, we've got a good battle up front, that's for sure. But let's look at Nick Sanchez running fourth, Brandon Jones running third. They're watching these two leaders. They saw that contact, and they're kind of licking their chops right now, saying, "Hey, you guys go ahead, each other, clear each other out. You know, go bowling." We see that up on the banners there. They're saying, "Knock each other down. We'll take the lead." And then I look back a little further and see Raja Karuth has made his way back to 10th after being a lap down earlier. This is a big rebound for him with Nick Sanchez running so well. That points battle, he wants to keep it tight.
That stood out to me as well, Raja Karuth, and what he's been able to overcome and now be running top 10. Here he can grab a couple more points. That points battle is just fun to talk about because it's been so tight and it literally changes lap by lap each race.
This restart is going to be so critical for Sammy.
So he's got a lot to think about right now, how to handle Taylor Gray, what Taylor's going to do, because we know he's capable of just doing what he needs to do to get the win. So Sammy Smith, restart on the outside, Taylor Gray on the inside, Brandon Jones in the 81, and Nick Sanchez. Green and white flag together in the air. Next flag will end this race. Who will it be?
Contact! There they are, Trevor. You talked about it.
Wow. I didn't see it playing out that way, Phil. I thought those two up front were going to be able to battle it out, but now we've got Nick Sanchez and Brandon Jones, who have not been in the lead all day long, leading this race, while Sammy Smith and Taylor Gray have maybe taken themselves out for the win.
How about that? Sammy Smith has dominated this race, and I mean dominate. He's led 39 laps, gets together with Taylor Gray on the final restart there. They're shuffled back just a bit. Brandon Jones, Nick Sanchez up front, but it's Brandon Jones now in the 81.
Nick Sanchez, your point leader, he wants to win this race. He's got a close enough shot here coming into the last two corners of the race to take his stab at winning this thing.
You get the most points if you win, right?
That's exactly right.
Brandon Jones has 2 wins on the season already. Remember, he's just a part-timer. He's full-time Xfinity. He's leading this race right now. But Nick Sanchez behind him. He's already won 3 times this season. Momentum on his side. Can Nick Sanchez get around the 81? Doesn't look like he can do it. Brandon Jones, for the 3rd time this season, wins it at Watkins Glen.
Wow, what a big moment on that restart for the 2 leaders. Sammy Smith finishes 5th after almost having a perfect day, and Brandon Jones, with his experience, takes advantage of the opportunity, doesn't lead a lap all day long, and comes home with the checker flag.
But Trevor, you called it. We talked about Nick Sanchez watching those two guys up front. They had got together earlier before that caution came out, and that's exactly what happened in turn 1.
Wow.
What a wild turn of events, right? It's not over till it's over, and I hope that you all at home watching enjoyed that show. I mean, the 18 was just class of the field, just absolute domination today.
Somebody made significant contact in the wall at turn 7 coming off that last corner down towards the checker.
But Nick Sanchez, he finished the best he had been all day.
That's how you win a championship, guys, too, by being consistent, run all the laps.
Here's a restart, a big push on the 17 by the 81, gets him in position, and there's no way the 17 was going to make that corner. He did not get slowed up enough, kind of uses the 18 up. The 18's an innocent bystander in this instance here. You know, he's running his line, and the 17's just going to send it.
Well, he kind of got sent in the corner a little bit.
He had some help
by the 81
sure.
of Brandon Jones.
I said go bowling, right? Sent that thing down the lane and knocked a couple pins down.
Brandon Jones was so smooth, hit his marks perfectly in that turn 1. And you know, he probably saw it coming. I mean, he watches these races, he races against these guys, and he knows what to expect at the end.
Well, he was definitely close enough the first time Taylor Gray got the lead in turn 7 and saw him make contact and knew that there was going to be a big level of aggression there. So good job to Brandon Jones, my Joe Gibbs teammate, getting it done in the ARCA series.
He's such a nice young man. Just 25 years old from Atlanta, Georgia. 8th career ARCA win in his 29th start. That's pretty good win average.
Yeah, pretty good percentage.
Nice look at the Toyota Camry burning it down for those fans. It is a packed house with campers there this weekend. Parking it.
Doesn't matter how you get it done, right, Jamie?
That's right. The record books say win. That's it. Beautiful. Smoke show down there on the finish line. As you see the unofficial results on the bottom there on the scroll. Brandon Jones, and if you stepped away for a bit, you're looking down there going, what? Where's Sammy Smith? You see him there. He ended up finishing 5th. Dale Quarterly had that near miss earlier on. Another top 10 for him at this racetrack.
Solid top 15 for Tony Breitinger. I mean, that's a great job. It's under the weather to soldier on and finish this race. Nice job.
Knowing she didn't give up her ride, didn't turn the reins over to anybody else. And Brandon Jones emerges as the winner. Let's check in with Josh.
Yeah, Brandon Jones celebrating right now, just his 4th start of the ARCA series this season. 3rd win of the season. And Brandon, you got to talk to me about that final restart and how you emerged and got the victory.
First off, by saying thanks to Miralax. They were a new company came on board this weekend and new to the racing world, man. So glad to get them their first win here. First road course win ever, man. This is really, really big for us. They were really tough to beat all day long. The 17 and the 18 were the ones I think that were really competitive towards the end, and we were all on top of each other really. And so it was all about timing that last restart, trying to force the issue down there a little bit. I saw it a few times coming before that the 17 was really aggressive there. So I was kind of waiting for something that had to happen, and had a couple of those late restarts that helped out.
And you talked to me pre-race just about the strategy. You said you had 2 options. You said either get up front early or wait and see what happens. Played right into your strategy, it sounds like.
It did, man. I mean, I kind of took option B on that and watched those guys for a long time to see where their cars were better than ours. And I kind of felt like we made the right adjustments there to be a little bit more competitive than we were that first stint of the race. So, yeah, I think that strategy worked out. Jacob did a great job all weekend trying to make those calls to get this Camry where it needs to be today.
Congratulations.
First road course win for Brandon Jones as a new sponsor that came on board, and that just sets him up for tomorrow. He's got the Xfinity Series race. And you see Taylor Gray, Sammy Smith, well, they shook hands. Probably see things a little differently, but they're on good terms.
It was hard racing, though. Obviously, those 2 guys raced hard the entire race. And, I mean, Taylor Gray didn't mean to go in there and take him out, but Trevor mentioned it was going to be really hard at that angle to make that corner, and he unfortunately didn't make it.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see these two handling it this way. I thought there would be some more emotion on the faces, but that's the right way to go about it. They know they'll be battling each other for a long time. And Brandon Jones put himself in that situation. As he said, I saw it. I took advantage of it. I pushed him down in there a little bit and let him take care of it.
Well, we'll hear from more of our finishers on the backside of this break. But Brandon Jones continues his celebration. Great show for the fans.
After a blistering weekend of the Kansas Heat, the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series has moved about 650 miles north to the heart of Paul Bunyan Country in Minnesota. Conditions are nearly identical for high speeds and low ETs. Qualifying for Brainerd is coming up next, right after the ARCA race on FS1.
The tension is mounting in the NHRA with just 2 races remaining before the playoffs. Some drivers and teams will be desperate to secure their spot in the countdown to the championship. The NHRA from Brainerd, Minnesota is on Fox. That's Sunday, 3:30 Eastern time. It's that time of the season. Everybody's getting set for the playoffs. And you watch here, coming to the checkered flag, see that white car clobbers the wall? That's Raja Karuth, and right behind him, Connor Jones, following the leader, got in the wall.
Yeah, Raja was racing the 15 of Parker Chase for the 6th spot, and unfortunately after that contact, he fell all the way back to 11th. Would you say, what does that matter? If he finishes 6th versus 11th, that's 5 extra points.
Yeah, and speaking of points, you just mentioned it. They were changing throughout this race. See how they stack up now. Nick Sanchez, obviously finishing 2nd, hangs on to that points lead now for the 2nd straight week. Daniel Dye moves into 2nd, but now he's 11 points back, and Raja shifts down. He's lost now 2 spots in the points in 2 races.
That's the first time I can remember the point lead being more than 10 points.
Yeah, Nick Sanchez again today just did a great job maximizing his race. He didn't have a 2nd place car. All day long he was running 5th, 6th place and came home with a 2nd place finish. As you mentioned, that's how you win championships.
He's very patient. Nick Sanchez, you know, he doesn't take these big, bold moves. He's kind of there and watches, kind of like Brandon Jones said. He knew that a moment like that was going to strike, and he was ready for it.
And good things are happening for him, too. Obviously, it's already been announced he's going to run a handful of Xfinity races for Big Machine Records in the 48 car that's already won this year with Tyler Reddick. So good things are on the horizon for Nick Sanchez.
And they continue bringing these new sponsors. You see Gamebridge right there. So really cool opportunity for Nick Sanchez, and a beautiful sunset. We'll be back for more from Watkins Glen. And we welcome you back to the ARCA Menards Series. Race number 13 just concluded. Brandon Jones, the 25-year-old from Atlanta, led just the final lap to take home the win. Let's take a look at the leaders so far, or winners, I should say, so far this season. Brandon Jones has taken 3 of those. See, Corey Heim kicked off the season with a big win at Daytona. Taylor Gray's been on a roll.
Truck Series regulars Corey Heim and Chandler Smith are the only ones not to win multiple races. Everybody else has won multiple races this year.
Well, Nick Sanchez, he was there when it counted, ended up bringing it home 2nd, and he's with Josh.
Yeah, Nick, talk to me about that final restart of the chaos, but you do come home 2nd at the end.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting. I didn't know what was going to happen there. I was kind of in a vulnerable position. And yeah, we exited turn 1. If I was just probably a half car closer to the 81, I might have been able to do something in the S's, but right there I decided to kind of back out of it there and try to protect myself from getting wrecked. So went into the bus stop and just kind of lost the nose, and that was kind of it. You know, if I was going to move him, I was going to have to do it to where I knew he wasn't going to come back and get me, and took the higher road today. But I want to thank Max Siegel, Team Chevy, Gainbridge. Solid points day, and, you know, we came out unscathed, unlike a lot of people.
Still the points leader. What's it going to take to put some distance between you and Dye and Raja?
Oh, yeah, days like today, I know there was a lot of cars, you know, that we were racing that didn't end up finishing, and, you know, it's more points they could capitalize on. But days like today, you know, we were probably a 4th, 5th place car, and we finished 2nd. And I want to win them, but you also got to look at points, I guess.
Thanks, and congratulations, guys.
Yeah, and he mentioned the points a few times in that interview, and he extended his points lead, 11 now over Daniel Dye. So definitely keeping that in his mind. And remember, they're racing again in just 2 days. It's another ARCA Menards Series national race. So these guys got to turn it around, keep their head in it, and go for it on Sunday. All right, so we had some good moves, some Reese's Sweet Move of the Race nominees, and here they are.
Yeah, Brandon Jones had a couple of these sweet moves, but this one right here was a close call with the 06 of Rita Tomlinson being slow in the S's. If he doesn't make that move, Phil, he crashes that car and can't make this move right here at the end.
But Trevor, I like this one right here. He is heads up. He pushed the 17 a little bit down in the corner, but he knew what was going to happen. He saw what happened before the last caution flag, and here he goes to take advantage of that great move on the restart.
Yeah, so do we like Brandon Jones or Brandon Jones?
I like
for this?
Brandon Jones.
All right.
Brandon Jones. I think we're safe with that. And remember, you need to vote tomorrow starting at 9 a.m. Eastern. Head over to the ARCA Menards Series Twitter page. That's at ARCA_racing. And vote on which moment you thought was the Reese's Sweet Move of the race. Look at that beautiful sunset. Almost dark there in the Finger Lakes region.
I had a good time today, you guys. It was
I did too.
Fun watching this race.
Great race. You hate it on one hand for Sammy Smith, who dominated the race, but Brandon Jones ran a smart race. As he mentioned in his interview, they made his car better at the halftime break, and he capitalized.
And Trevor, we talked about how much TV you're doing, but you're getting back in the race car. You'll be in a couple Xfinity races. When will we see you next?
Yeah, I've got a little while off. I don't go back till Vegas and Homestead, which is in October. So you'll have a lot of ARCA races coming up, though, in between now and then.
Yes, you see the one highlighted there in yellow, Bristol Motor Speedway. That will be our final one here on FS1. And I believe, Trevor, hopefully I can announce, but you're going to be back with us.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to be here with you all. It's my home track at Bristol, so I always love watching races there, and got to do that one with y'all last year too.
Yeah, happy to have you, and we're looking forward to that race at Bristol. But let's continue hearing from our finishers. Daniel Dye brought it home fourth. He's with Josh.
Yeah, top 5 finish for Daniel Dye. Can you break down your day and what it took to at least salvage the top 5?
Yeah, it was kind of a tough day. I was learning really the whole day, fight the handling of the car just a little bit. But we learned and, just kind of keep fighting. The leaders were working really hard to win the race. And, at the end of the race, they all kind of got together and opened a couple doors. And I just filled the holes there to come out for us. So it was pretty good. Just got to work on my road course technique a little bit. That's all for us for road course racing this year, but moving into next year I got some stuff to work on. But just a really, really cool thing to finish in the top 5 with the champion colors here on board at Watkins Glen. Car looked great. It was awesome having them on board, as well as the Volusia County Sheriff's Department. So it's just been a really cool year, been able to do a lot of cool things. Watkins Glen is just one of those things that I've wanted to do for a while. So to finally do it, come out here with top 5, it's a pretty cool deal.
And you talk about learning, quick turnaround for you. You got to go dirt racing on Sunday. What's it going to take to gear up for that?
Yeah, funny story. The only experience I have right now is yesterday I went to the shop and me and my crew chief Chad Bryant were running around in the grass in a golf cart he's trying to explain what I'm going to be feeling. So hopefully it compares, but we'll see. 2 things I'm not used to: road course racing and dirt racing. I've never touched a dirt track in my life, so it's going to be fun on Sunday.
A learning process for Daniel Dye. Thanks.
Okay, so you get a go-kart and you go jump in the grass, and that'll feel something like a dirt track?
Well, yes, I guess.
I don't know that that's the best approach to training for a dirt race. You mentioned Millbridge earlier. Maybe something like that would be a little better for him.
I think we need a follow-up Sunday night, right? So how did it compare with Daniel Dye? I mean, for him saying that he doesn't have hardly any experience, for him to salvage that and to move second in the points, just 11 back, pretty darn good.
Yeah, we didn't talk a whole lot about Austin Wayne Self, but a nice job. He's going to make an Xfinity debut tomorrow. 7th place finish for him.
Yeah, Del Quarterly, he had that close call in the bus stop earlier with the 06 car, kind of stopped there. Good heads-up driving to miss that one.
And Stanton Barrett, we didn't mention him, but Stanton, another good run for him, the stuntman from Hollywood that's raced in all forms of racing, road courses, street, whatever you mention it, he does a great job. So it's good to have Stanton back in the 11 car this afternoon.
Tough break for Andy Jakowiak, losing a transmission early on.
Yeah, it was good to have him back in the field. The pizza delivery man from right here in New York, and he had those troubles earlier. Well, did you guys Have a good time? Make you want to go jump in a race car?
I did. I'm telling you what, watching Watkins Glen, you can visualize everything. And I don't know if it's like that for you, Phil, but for me, when I watch this, you think about all the things that they're feeling and all the movement in the car and just getting the thing up the S's and how difficult that can be. So I know what these drivers were going through. It's a tough racetrack, but they did a great job learning it, and it was a fun race to watch.
And
sure.
I love thinking about what was going through their mind on that last restart. What was going through Sammy's mind? Obviously Taylor Gray's mind, and we know what was going through Brandon Jones' mind. He felt like something was going to happen like that, and he took advantage of it.
Don't forget race day on Sunday at FS1 at 12:30. We had fun. I hope that you did as well. For Phil Parsons, Trevor Bain, Josh Sims, I'm Jamie Little. For all of us at Fox, have a great night, and we'll see you next time from Bristol.